Good morning, Patriots. So let's start the day off with a little truth. What happened in Minnesota should never spiral the way that it did. And a man losing his life, families are hurt, communities are shaken, and anyone pretending that's something to celebrate is lying to themselves. But here's where the story actually begins, and it's not with ICE or law enforcement, but with the reckless leadership. See, things get out of hand because people in charge incite this chaos instead of restoring order. They pour gasoline on a situation already soaked in tension. When elected officials demonize law enforcement, when they tell crowds that the law itself is the enemy, when they refuse to stand between order and mob rule, bad things happen every time. If leadership had been present instead of provocative, if law enforcement had been supported instead of sabotaged, if the message was calm, lawful, and clear, this never escalates. Instead, we're watching elected Democrats actively protect people who broke our laws, people who crossed our borders illegally, bypassed the system, and are actively stealing the American dream from those who respected it, and worse, those same officials help shield them, fund them, and rally protests on their behalf, all while pretending consequences stop at outrage. But let's be real, small symbolic actions are not enough anymore. You cannot half enforce the law and assume the safety of ICE or our public anymore. If the streets are lawless, then order must be immediate and decisive, not timid and apologetic. Order must overwhelm chaos, or chaos will win. And to the people shouting that was just an execution and pretending that the story ends there, you need to look in the mirror. Your own part in this is undeniable. You encouraged the hostility. You painted law enforcement as monsters. You taught people to resist, provoke, and surround and challenge officers that were just doing their jobs. Then you act shocked when tragedy follows. You don't get to light the fire and deny responsibility for the blaze. You've convinced an entire generation that America's evil, that the law is oppression, that morality is subjective, that accountability is optional. You teach children that they're victims before they know they're individuals. Instead of the image bearers made by a God with purpose, dignity, and responsibility, you teach them that cops are evil instead of the crimes that cops fight being evil. You teach them feelings matter more than facts, and group identity more than character, entitlement more than sacrifice. And now they don't know the difference between good and evil. And you call yourself compassionate? You're not compassionate. You're irresponsible. You devalue the blood, sweat, and sacrifice of Americans of every race who built this nation, men and women who fought wars, worked factories, bled in fields, prayed in churches, and believed this country was worth defending. You're taking the inheritance that they earned and handing it out like it means nothing. And here's the hard part. This country didn't become the beacon of hope by accident. It became one because of the discipline, values, law, and sacrifice. We've forgotten who we are, and the road back is going to be painful, but it's worth fighting for. The pride of an Independence Day barbecue, the lump in your throat when you see the flag rising, the understanding that freedom is rare, fragile, and earned. America is on life support, and it's not because of her past, but because of those trying to erase it. And what you don't realize is this. If you succeed in destroying American exceptionalism, you'll destroy yourself with it. Because a nation that abandons truth, order, and responsibility can't survive. And we're done pretending otherwise.